Hello, hello. Welcome. Here we go. All right, hi. Just wait another minute. If you're getting ready while this video is starting, you can see the things laid out that you're going to need today. I have my white thread, my needle, my scissors, and then my stitching, obviously. So yesterday we learned how to do the back stitch, or the whipped back stitch, for our print letters. As you can see, I didn't quite finish, so it's fine if you didn't either. Embroidery is a slow craft. I've also been working on another project at the same time, which I'm actually really loving how it's turning out. I've been working on this little bead heart. I'm almost finished with it. I can't wait to erase the pen lines and see how it all looks, but it's so shiny. I love it so much. So anyway, if you have not quite finished from day one, totally fine. We're in the same boat. I have whipped my back stitch in this first line. The second line, I've almost finished just the back stitch. I haven't whipped any of this yet, and then haven't even started the third line yet. So yeah, today we're going to stitch the words snow and forever using a split stitch, or back split stitch is probably what I'll do. Either of them work, and I'll show you both. I just like doing a back split stitch a little bit more. I don't know why. They're pretty much the same, but there's something about the back split stitch that I think is just a little easier. So that's what I'm going to be doing, but I'll show you how to do both. If you're newer to embroidery, then maybe try both, see which way you like better, or you can stick to what I'm doing too. So I'm going to cut my length of my white thread, and then just like yesterday, I like using 2 strands of thread. You can use more if you would like. For a split stitch, I would not suggest using 1 strand, but I'm going to use 2. So, hi. Pull out 1, pull out 2, here we go. Yeah, so put the ends together and then slide that into my needle. There we go, and we are almost ready to roll. There we go. All right, so when I traced the letters for snow and forever, you can see that I traced around the outside of the lines, and I left it unfilled in the middle. So I'm going to start by stitching this line of the S, and then I'm going to follow that up until I get here. It'll probably take me 3 rows, maybe 2 of stitching. Then I'm going to curve this way and fill in there, and then finally we'll fill in this last curve up to the N. Okay. So I'm going to start on this outside line, pull my thread all the way through, and then I'm going to come down a stitch length away. Try to move that thread out so you can see what I'm doing. Just like that. Okay. Now, if you want to try regular split stitch, you're going to bring your needle up in between those 2 threads. So you see how there's a white thread on either side of my needle there. And if you're doing regular split stitch, you'll pull that up all the way and go down another stitch length away, and you'll repeat that pattern. When I do a back split stitch, it's similar to how I did the back stitch yesterday. So I'm going to come up about a half a stitch length away, pull my needle all the way through, and then I'm going to go down in between those two threads where you would come up for a regular split stitch. So now you can see my needle has that white thread on either side of it, and I'm going to pull that through there so you can see how it changes the texture of the stitches there. Okay, so again, I'm going to come up a half stitch length away and put it back down through the previous stitch I made. There. And then when I get to the top of that line, here, let me show real quick. Okay, so that's the last stitch that I want to make, but I don't want this stitch at the top to look different than the stitches underneath it. You can tell that one hasn't been split. So I'm going to come up right in the same hole that I came up before, so right at the top of that stitch, and then I'm just going to put my needle back down through those two threads. There. And now it looks consistent all the way up. Then I'm going to go back down right next to where I started. Pull that through. And then I'm going to follow the stitch lengths that I used in that first row. So I'm going to come up right next to where I did originally. That will keep everything looking nice and tidy. Oops, pull that knot out there. Here we go. Right. And then back down to split that stitch. There. I'll keep going that way. Let's see. I'm gonna move that down a little bit so it's a little easier for me to see while I finish this row. Let's see. I'm coming on a little bit later today. We had kind of a busy morning. We ended up having a teacher conference today for my nephew. He's in a preschool program. They don't have school this whole week for conferences, which I did not realize when I scheduled the stitch along, but we're making it work here. Yeah, so that ended up going about an hour before we got home, and then did lunch and all that stuff. So I appreciate your patience that this video is coming a little bit later than yesterday's. Yeah, there. Okay, so when I'm looking here, I think that I'm just going to do those two rows for that part of the S. I can see a little bit of a line down here, but it's filled in most of the way up, so that I'll just blow dry away when I erase my pen lines. So I'm going to start on this curve next. So I'm going to start, I'm going to bring my needle up right under where I ended before. Just there. And I'm going to follow the outside curve down here. Just like with back stitch, your stitches will look a little more smooth if you shorten the stitch lengths going around a curve. So if you're noticing that maybe your letters look a little blocky, just make your stitches closer together. There we go. Pull that through. perfect. Hi. Thanks for joining. I'm not sure who everybody is that purchased the pattern from my Etsy shop. If you are one of the people that did and you're watching, I'd love it if you said hi. If you have not and you're interested in joining in, the pattern or the link to the pattern is in my bio here on Instagram. I'm also putting these videos on YouTube. I could not figure out how to get my video onto YouTube yesterday. It sounds like if you don't save your video like immediately on Instagram, then you can't. And I did not know that. So I tried all the tricks that I could think of, all the tricks that the internet suggested, and I could not figure out how to save my video. So if you're watching this video on YouTube and you'd like to see yesterday's video of how to do the back stitch for the print letters, it's on Instagram, which is the same Keisha.stitches, but yeah, that first video won't be on YouTube because I lost it apparently. Sorry about that. So right now I'm at the end of this curve. I'm going to stop right about here, and then I'm going to go back up to the top here and do the next row next to it there. And then tomorrow's video will not be live. We had to reschedule an appointment to tomorrow at 1. That's from 1 to 2. Unfortunately, and then we're headed right over to a friend's house after that appointment. So I don't have time in the morning to do a live video because my nephew is around. I don't know if you can hear him banging upstairs right now. Sorry if you can, but yeah, since he's around in the morning, I won't be able to do a live video. So actually I'm gonna record tomorrow's video, which is to do the leaves, and I'll just post that. It won't be live though, so hopefully that's okay. Remember though, if you have any questions about anything that you see in that video, if you're unsure about how to do something, or if I explained something in a way that does not make sense to you, please feel free to reach out and ask through DM or on a comment, and I'll make sure to address that. Yeah. I'm definitely more of a visual learner, so I know that like watching a video on something is often enough for me, but I'm a teacher, so I know that people learn in lots of different ways. So if you are an auditory processor and the way that I explain something does not make sense, then I'll think of a new way to explain it. You're almost at the end of this row. So in this one I am going to do a third row of stitches, which actually I like that it worked out that way, that it's only 2 here and then 3 here, because if I was doing actual calligraphy, the downstrokes would be thicker than the upstrokes. So I like that this downstroke is actually going to be thicker than the upstroke would have been. I think I can do it in 3. It might take a little bit of a 4th. We'll see. Okay. There. Okay. If you're participating in this stitch along, I am assuming that you like the sound of music. I'd love to know like your favorite parts, your favorite songs. I always get so happy when I hear the Lonely Goatherd song. One of my plans for this year was to do like a little themed shop update each month, and I just picked different themes based on stuff that I love mostly, and then also like some other ideas that I had of things I wanted to stitch. Like I have some song lyrics and things that I wanted to stitch, so I thought, oh, maybe a whole month of song lyrics. I did in January, I did Disney because I had a couple ideas of things Disney related that I wanted to stitch already, and then it's also something that I love, so I wanted to theme a whole shop update around that. And for the month of February, I had thought musical theater. I love musicals. I love Broadway. I've never seen a show on actual Broadway. I've never been to New York. But my husband and I, before COVID, saw musicals pretty regularly. It has been a while now. Obviously things shut down for a while. But and then my nephew came to stay with us. So we have not done as much of like the stuff we used to do. But now I don't know if I want to do that for the whole month of February. I mentioned in my stories and in my Meet the Stitchers post yesterday that I've been feeling just a little uninspired. So I don't know if I'm going to continue doing a whole Broadway theme for this month. I might have an unthemed drop. I have that bead heart. I have a Taylor Swift themed hoop that if you watched my stories, you've seen a little sneak peeks of it, and you've seen, I actually posted the whole finished thing, but I haven't photographed it yet to share on my feed. That is my plan for today's Meet the Stitchers post, which I haven't had time to do yet. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to keep up with the themes, but it's only February, and I feel like it's too early to, drop my goals for myself for the year already. So I don't know. I'm giving myself grace right now. Trying to let inspiration strike and just follow it, not feel like I have to force myself to do something. But yeah, I don't know. Alright, so I'm following this curve around here. I think I might just do one strand of the split stitch. I'm at where I made the 3 strands go down. I'm going to come up right next to that and then fill in split this last stitch I made, and then I'm going to pick it up again on the other side. Instead of trying to go over the top. And this is going to be my last stitch for the letter S. And I'm going to come up right at the end of that and split that stitch. Here. So you can kind of get the idea of the texture that we're going for these words snow and forever. So I'm going to continue on the N. I'll go down, then up, and follow that curve down. This will probably be 3 lines to go down on the N, and then probably 2 to follow that curve down. The O, I'm going to start at the top. It's so hard to point these little letters with my big old fingers. Okay, let me grab my needle and use that. So I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to try to make a whole curve around, just like that. Around here, you'll drop a row. So it'll be 3 lines of split stitch or back split stitch on this side of the middle of the O, but over here only 2. Then you'll do this little part, and then the W, go down, up, down, and then this is a little around, so I'm going to curve up here, and then here, and when I get here I'm going to stop, and then I'll pick this part up on the other side, just like on this part of the S. Right, so curve up, and then when I go around I'll stop, where that part of the W is and pick it up on the other side. And then the other word to stitch today is the word forever. Right? So I'm going to start here, curve up. That's probably 2 rows of split stitch. Hi. And then coming down will be 3, and then I'll curve up again and over here. The O will follow the same path we did for the O in snow. And then for the R, we'll do down, probably just 1 strand or 1 row across the top, and then 3 strands again down, maybe 2 curving up into the E. For the E, I'll start right here, just like I would if I was writing an E. That'll probably be 1 or 2 rows of the split stitch, and then 3 rows curving down, and then 2 here. And so you follow that. I'll mostly be following just like I would write it. There. And then we'll end here with probably just 1 row of that. Right? So my goal today is going to be to at least finish the word snow, and I'm going to try to finish stitching my black letters from day 1. If you get through snow and forever, you'll be right on track, ready tomorrow to watch the video about stitching the leaves. Remember, tomorrow's video will not be live because of all the things I talked about earlier in this video. But there will be a video posted, so it'll show you that we'll be doing a stem stitch and then a leaf stitch to stitch the leaves. Yeah, so if you have any questions, go ahead, let me know through DM or in a comment, and I'll make sure to answer those. Thanks for joining along. I did make up a hashtag if you're stitching with us. It's hashtag KS for Keisha Stitches, and then SAL for Stitch Along. So KS, SAL if you're joining in. I would love to see what you're making. See you tomorrow. Bye.